Lorna Doone by R.D. Blackmore. My dear father, John Ridd, had been killed by the Doones of Badgery while riding home from Porlock on Exmoor on Saturday evening. Suddenly, a horseman stopped in the starlight, full across him. But my father had been used to think that any man who was comfortable inside his own coat and waistcoat deserved to have no other set, unless he could strike a blow for them. And so he set his staff above his head and rode at the Doone robber. But he was in the midst of a dozen men who seemed to come out of a turf rick, some on horse, some afoot. Nevertheless, he smote lustily, as far as he could see. And being of great size and strength, and his blood well up, they had no easy job with him. But a man beyond the range of staff was crouching by the peat stack, with a long gun set to his shoulder, and he got poor father against the sky, and I cannot tell the rest of it. It was more of woe than wonder, being such days of violence, that my mother knew herself a widow, and her children fatherless. Of children there were only 3, none of us fit to be useful yet, only to comfort mother, by making her to work for us. I, John Ridd, was the eldest at 12 years, and felt it a heavy thing on me. Next came Sister Annie, with about 2 years between us, and then the little Eliza. Good folk who dwell in a lawful land, if such a thing there may be, may judge our neighbourhood harshly, unless the whole truth is set before them, and so I ask leave to explain how and why these robbers came to live in the midst of us. It grew upon us gently, in the following manner. In or about the year of our Lord 1640, when all the troubles of England were swelling to an outburst, great estates in the north country were suddenly confiscated, and through some feud of families and strong influence at court, and the owners were turned upon the world, and might think themselves lucky to save their necks. These estates were in co-heirship, joint tenancy I think they called it, although I know not the meaning, only so that if either tenant died, the other living, all would come to the live one, in spite of any testament. One of the joint owners was Sir Ensor Doone, a gentleman of brisk intellect, and the other owner was his cousin, the Earl of Lorne and Dykemont. Lord Lorne was some years the elder of his cousin Ensor Doone, and was making suit to gain severance of the cumbersome joint tenancy, by any fair apportionment, when suddenly this blow fell on them, and instead of dividing the land, they were divided from it. The nobleman was still well-to-do, though crippled in his expenditure, but as for the cousin, he was left a beggar, with many to beg from him. He thought that the other had wronged him, and that all the trouble of law befell through his unjust petition. Many friends advised him to make interest at court, for having done no harm whatever, and being a good Catholic, which Lord Lorne was not, he would be sure to find hearing there, and probably some favour. But he, like a very hot-brained man, although he had been long married to the daughter of his cousin, whom he liked none the more for that, would have nothing to say to any attempt at making a patch of it. And he drove away with his wife and sons, and the relics of his money, swearing hard at everybody. Some say that in the bitterness of that wrong and outrage, he slew a gentleman of the court, whom he supposed to have borne a hand in the plundering of his fortunes. Others say that he bearded King Charles I himself in a manner beyond forgiveness. One thing at any rate is sure: Sir Ensor was attained, and made a felon outlaw, through some violent deed ensuing upon his disposition. In great despair at last, he resolved to settle in some outlandish part, where none could be found to know him, and so, in an evil day for us, he came to the west of England. Not that our part of the world is at all outlandish, according to my view of it, for I have never found a better one, but that it was known to be rugged and large and desolate. And here he had discovered a place which seemed almost...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?